The Wheel of Time has no time. Let's talk about episode 6. I hope you enjoy watching this painting of Siuan Sanche as you listen to me ramble about my thoughts around episode 6. I will warn you ahead of time, this episode of this video is going to be a lot of spoilers if you haven't read the books. I'm going to touch on things that are just going through my head, so I'm going to be indiscriminate about reflecting on the book in relationship to the show and all those pieces of things, because this episode has got me reeling. All right, let's dive in. I know changes are necessary when you're creating an adaptation of a book to film or television, but I do feel like right now what's happening with the TV show is too far afield from the books. As a lover of the books, I'm struggling with it. I think people that haven't read the books are probably in a better place, but I'm going to be talking specifically about the things in relationship to the book that I'm struggling with the changes. I feel like they're sort of pulling further and further away from the nuances of the world of the Wheel of Time and creating something other. So let's talk about that a little bit. I'm going to dive deeply into spoilers. As I said, I'm a writer, I am a storyteller, and so my reflections on this are going to be coming from a place of understanding nuance of writing and storytelling. I think it's fair to have a critique around it. The things for me, it's just hard to let go of storylines and to drop storylines the way that some of these episodes are. It starts to feel a little bit like a Saturday morning cartoon villain of the week kind of feel. I think first off, I want to say I enjoyed aspects of this episode. Again, I'm loving the actors, loving the performances. The cast is great. The settings are really cool. The Aes Sedai were interesting. The politicking that we get in this episode is very interesting in terms of a world building for the White Tower politics and the relationships of things. I felt a little bit of the stuff inside of the hall for the sitters was a little bit wonky, and specifically what happened at the end. There's just things that happened in there that I'm just like, it just feels very different than how it would be in the books. It also feels just sort of weird in the context of the TV show world of the Aes Sedai. So I'm going to kind of dive into more about that, but I think the most important things that I felt were good in this were just sort of the characters the actors doing what they can with what they've been given to work with. Someone had said that they thought that this episode maybe suffered greatly from COVID because of starts and stops, and I didn't think about that while watching it or like thinking about it or writing this discourse about it, but I guess that could be a real thing, that maybe this episode was really hard to bring together and they maybe lost some storylines and stuff because of the people that were available to film with. I'm not sure. It was neat to see young Siuan Sanche in the beginning. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed seeing her as a little girl. I enjoyed seeing her use the power. I just didn't like that. I liked the music in that scene. I thought it was beautiful. Really, really cool music. I just didn't like how her dad sent her off to travel across the world to get to Tarvalon by herself. Yes, she has the one power, but she's a kid. I don't know what the logistics of that looks like in the world of the Wheel of Time, but it just seemed weird to me, and I didn't quite understand what his motives were for staying in a town where now he's labeled as like a dark friend or whatever because of the dragon's fang and whatever. He's just like, I don't know why he separated himself from his daughter. Didn't compute with me being a dad myself. I'd been like, let's go, I'm coming with you. I don't know why that happened. Maybe he could channel at one point or something. I don't know. He was afraid of the Aes Sedai, but that would make sense because she was channeling to help him. So I don't know. Anyways, none of that made sense. Sophie Okonedo had an incredible presence as Siuan, as the Amyrlin. I really enjoyed that. I liked the sort of the Amerlin Seat addressing the sitters of the hall, and those dynamics in the first few scenes there were really cool. Addressing Logain, poor Logain. That's all I can say, poor Logain. Man, that was rough. He wants to die. It was really sad. A great performance on his part to carry that. It was really cool. And then we see sort of Moraine with her craftiness and not, keeping the Emmons Fielders apart, the Two Rivers folk apart from each other. And that was kind of interesting. I kind of liked that sort of Aes Sedai truth speak that she's been doing, the craftiness of her. I liked seeing Loyal again. I wish we could get more of him. He's just great. So cool. Again, his costume's a little weird, but I just dig the actor. He's so good. I don't know if you've watched the special feature. Those painted animated sequences and special features are really, really cool, and I feel like they're building book accurate backgrounds for the world of the Wheel of Time, except the metaphysics. And this is what's got me a little bit concerned, because those animated pieces are like fairly accurate, all of them, except when they're talking about the Dragon Reborn, and that one they talk about not same thing as what's in the show. We don't know who the dragon is. Could be this, could be that. And in this episode we had it could be a multi-headed dragon, where I was just like, really? Okay. Interesting. I'm kind of terrified that they're gonna like Power Ranger the end of the show and have Dragon Rangers combine and everybody gets their powers in and they defeat the Dark One by the power of their connectedness or whatever. And I'm just like, oh man, it's pulling so far away from parts of the book, the Kareathon cycle, the metaphysics of how it's put together in the books. And I'm just concerned. Here's the thing, I gotta let go. It's a TV show, and it's different than the books. It just is different. So I think this episode was for me, in the written description that I put on my Patreon page, I said that I jumped off the roller coaster in this episode, because I've been up until this point, I've been gripping onto that thing and riding it, and trying to enjoy it for what it is, and just woo, this is awesome. Whoa, that's crazy. I didn't see that coming. And that's horrifying that they're making that choice. Okay. And then now I just feel a little bit like I got to get off this thing and look at it objectively for a bit. There are problems with this episode in relationship to everything that's happened prior in the TV show. And those are it's just broken in some ways. But I think that I need to let go of my expectations of it being tied or similar to the books, because we're deviating quite a bit at this point. One of the biggest problems for me was how so episode 1 and 2 were breakneck pace, just too fast. And that's been my biggest struggle with this whole series in general, is that it's just way too fast. It's like they needed to have at least a 12 episode season if you're going to do 2 books, because it's just, some of the stuff is just going way too fast. We've lost too many nuances between the characters, and it's just starting to get a little crazy, and this episode was the worst for it. I felt like episode 3 to 5 kind of slowed down a little bit, and even though I didn't really, I wasn't sure about the Steppen warder death funeral stuff, and the choices to use those 2 characters, Karene and Steppen, as this model to help flesh out this whole bond between the warders and the Aes Sedai. That choice to me was interesting. I kind of enjoyed it, I guess, because they are sort of expendable characters in the world of the story, and if you're trying to fast track getting your audience on board with understanding this connection between Aes Sedai and warders, that's a good way to do it, is have these 2 characters, make them somewhat important, and then murder them mercilessly, and then have this interesting scene with like I said in my last video, this really strong performance by Daniel Henney that like solidified, and Rosamund Pike for me solidified that scene and into canon of the TV show, and like, okay, cool, we get to see this is really a tight bond and it's really powerful and their emotions are tied to, like, all those things were good. And then, you know, I felt like that was a culmination of everything that happened in previous episodes between Lan and Moiraine, and Stepan and Lan, and Karene and Moiraine, and Nynaeve was even involved, and she was, you know, we started to see some building of nuance of relationship between Lan and Nynaeve, and you're like, I'm like kind of like, okay, this is interesting. They're putting an emphasis on these components in the show. And then it was like episode 6 came along, and it was like none of that happened. Nobody mentioned the funeral. Nobody asked Lan how he's doing. Lan never talked to Nynaeve about the sleepy time tea. She never felt bad about the sleepy time tea that she gave to Stepan, that he used to put Lan to sleep so he could go murder himself. Like, nothing. Nobody, like, all of these threads are, those are very important character building threads, and they miss an opportunity to build Lan and Nynaeve's relationship through potentially conflict because of what happened. Maybe she tells him, like, you know, like, there's different things you could do in that situation to build that conflict / relationship / trust / all these things. And I felt like they just abandoned it. They abandoned all that stuff, and they abandoned it for, to me, what it seemed like they abandoned it for the sake of weaving in this other relationship that we've had no build up to, other than the fact that if I'm a book reader, I maybe know that there's such a thing as pillow friends, and, you know, if I know a little bit of Moraine's backstory, I know that her and Siuan were pillow friends. They were in the same room together in the White Tower when they were younger. I never read New Spring, but I'm pretty sure that it's pretty clear that they had a relationship, a physical relationship. That's all fine and good, but we know, here's where the spoilers are, we know in the books, Moiraine ends up having a relationship with Tom. And so, you know, that's fine. Maybe they still do that down the road. But it's so hard as a viewer to jump from all this other stuff that happened and now be expected to invest into this new thing. It's the same way that episode 1 struggled, where it's like, oh yeah, this is Perrin, this is his wife. Maybe she's pregnant, he's touching her belly, they don't speak to each other, he axes her in the belly and he feels terrible. And it's like this, holy crap, whoa, this is crazy. It's like, you know, just so fast and so much. It's like a fire hose of emotional information that as a viewer, I'm just unable to process. And that's a problem. And then you have all these other highly emotional threads and connections that have already been created and built upon in the previous episodes that just got ignored. And so as a writer, I just feel like that was a slip. That was a miss and a mistake. And it just made episode 6 for me feel like episode 7, 8, and 9 of Star Wars, where you're just everything's disjointed. It's like we have the Knights of Ren in the beginning in episode 7, and they sound cool, and wow, Kylo Ren was a part of that. Wow, neat. And then, you know, episode 8 just forgets about that, and then when they come back in episode 9, they're these dudes with these metal sticks that Kylo Ren murders in 20 seconds, but they apparently went around the galaxy with Kylo Ren murdering Jedi. Right? So, like, there's all these weird story things that sound cool and are, like, built upon and then just disappear. This is what episode 6 felt like me in the context of all the episodes so far, and I just don't like that. It drives me crazy as a writer to have this stuff just left and forgotten. So I felt like the Ogier were given, like, just a super short stick in this regard, the short end of the stick, because the Ogier are super cool. So, I mean, we've got, like, the weird look of him, of our friend Ogier. He looks kind of weird, so in that respect, he's already been given the short end of the stick in terms of his costuming, in my opinion. I feel like they could have done more there, but thank God for Hamid. He's amazing, really carrying the character. But then they have the Waygate. So the Waygate is a weird thing, and this is like, I don't know if you've ever watched. Do you ever watch the show, the TV series Heroes? I'm sorry, I'm diving into other stuff, but this is what this all stuff reminds me of. In Heroes, in the latter episodes, episode 1 or season 1, I thought was amazing. The latter seasons get a little crazy, and they have this plot device thing that they use where it's like, just put him in a coma device, and then he's comaed, and then take him out of the coma device. Now put him in a coma device. So all these like super powered people are being put into comas, so that they can just move the story forward and deal with like the threat of this person, so they don't kill everybody and destroy everything, because that would make the story that they're trying to tell inconvenient. Whatever. I felt like that's kind of what they did with the Waygates here. It's like, why is this Waygate out in the middle of nowhere? Why? It doesn't look anything like they were depicted in the books. I hope they dive into it more when they're in the ways, and the Ogier gets a chance to do a bit of a monologue about what the ways are and stuff like that. But I felt like stripping the activation of the Waygate and making the Waygate what it was, I feel like they've stripped a very meaningful role of the Ogier people and removed a very fascinating cultural and world-building component of the world that Robert Jordan built. And so they've, for the sake of, I don't know if it was like convenience, budget, we want Aes Sedai to have more power, I don't know what it was, but it's like, why would you do that? They missed opportunities in this way to build on the already, lush environment, cultural aspects, world building that Robert Jordan put in place. And I don't think it would have been that hard. I mean, you could have had the thing built the same way, and have a trefoil leaf on the side of it or something that the Ogier only the Ogier knows about, or like, carved into the pattern of the stonework or whatever. Like, just do something so that the Ogier has an active role in understanding and knowing how a Waygate is operated. And that gives you the opportunity to build that out. That's just my opinion. We didn't get a chance to have any of the the Two Rivers folk. I keep saying Emmonsfield. The Two Rivers folk. We didn't get to see them really interact with each other. It was kind of weird. It's like, even like when Nynaeve hugged and Egwene hugged, like they hadn't seen each other for over a month, and all we get is a hug. We don't get like any discourse. We don't like, this is the whole speed issue of this show, of the whole season. It's just too fast, and it's just like we need moments, right? We need moments to have these characters have some discourse, have some time together, unravel, deflate, just unpack some of what's happened to them, and then we don't get that. We just get them sort of like interacting a little bit here and there. I know this episode was like a lot about Moiraine, and it was like, Moiraine is the key character in this, and that's fine, but it's like, I need more time. I just need time. Wheel of Time. Just give me some time. I just need time. This is the struggle with the end, is the whole aspect of the multi-headed dragon thing is just weird to me. And then, we know Moraine's intention that if she can't have the dragon reborn, she's going to kill them so that the Dark One doesn't get them. They don't know who the dragon is, so they're going to bring all of them and just like, get them to go fight the Dark One, I guess. Which is weird. It's different than the books too, the way this is all kind of playing out. Siuan Sanche said something about, the Dark One's weak and he's at the eye of the world. All that stuff, which was kind of weird. I don't know. Maybe I'm like, is Siuan Sanche a dark friend? Like, maybe they're changing her? I don't know. Maybe she's sending them into a trap. It's just weird. The whole thing is strange. So I don't know what's going on there. I guess maybe I will extend a benefit of the doubt in that respect, because I haven't seen yet what their plan is to build all that out. But I am a bit scared that they're going to do, like I said, this whole like Power Ranger type thing. But if they are doing that, what about Matt? And I guess maybe we know Barney Harris left the show, so I guess maybe Barney had left the show at that point and they just needed to wrap it up with him. Maybe we don't see him again. I haven't looked at his credits for the next 2 episodes, if he exists in those episodes or not, online, so maybe he's done for the season. I don't know. which is, it's weird. It just feels like a lot of the stuff in this episode feels arbitrary. Like we have a relationship with Moraine and Siuan just because we need something in here. We have Matt leaving the group just because he just didn't walk, and Moraine didn't grab him with weaves of air and bring him in, not let him get away, because she needs him to go fight the Dark One potentially. And now maybe he was the dragon and now the Dark One wins. Game over. I don't know. It's just weird. Some of those things were just like, what? And nobody's like concerned that, I mean, obviously his friends were like, oh no, Matt. But it just, the importance of what they were doing felt like Lan and Moraine completely missed the boat in letting Matt just stand outside. Anyways, that's a crazy rant. I want to just say a couple things to try to soften my delivery here. I have no problem with Moraine and Siuan having a relationship, but I need it to be, at this stage in the game, you can't do a Perrin with his wife on us anymore. You got to build this stuff up. It's just too important to just throw it in there. And then probably next episode, none of that stuff matters, right? Like the way that they built that out, and then the oath rod part at the end was so over the top, emotional and intimate that like the sitters in the tower would have been like, WTH, you guys are obviously, stuff going on, and what is actually happening right now? Like that was extremely overt politicking in the White Tower, and I just didn't get it. From a writing perspective, it was just like super transparent and weird. And then we didn't see anything about Liandrin either. That was my only other problem with the end and the whole like Amerlin disciplining thing. What happened to Liandrin's punishment? I guess it doesn't matter. Maybe we'll see something later. Yeah. So I feel like this episode just pulled way too far afield. I feel like I had to jump off this thing so I can like try to process what the heck is going on, and get my mind straight around it. Oh, this was a lot. It was long, so I apologize if this was too long of a rant and too negative. I don't know how you guys are receiving these videos. It's been fun for me just to process this stuff, so I guess take it for what it is. And I'm hoping, I'm hopeful that, like, I'm gonna watch the next. It's not like I'm abandoning ship, but I'm like I'm gonna come to the next episode with a very different attitude and a different approach to it, because that was too much for a book lover like me to parse through. It was just too much. So I gotta let go and try to get back on this thing and just reckless abandon and try to enjoy it, I suppose. That doesn't mean I'm probably not going to come on here again and talk about my challenges with personally with further changes or craziness they make. Like if they do go full on like Power Ranger Dragon Reborn thing, I honestly don't know. I don't know what I would do with that. I don't know. That would be just so different. I just don't even know what I would do with that. Anyways, talk to me, guys. Give me hope. Tell me what you think. Explain to me how I'm wrong so that I can feel better about this episode. Tell me from your perspective what was good about it and what I'm not seeing so that I can let go of my frustrations and just really enjoy it. That's what I'm hoping for. But yeah, I'm going to leave it there before I sign off. As usual, I just want to say thank you for watching. If you haven't already, please hit the like button and subscribe. It does help me. I am trying to build my YouTube audience. I know I'm not super consistent with videos, and most of my content on here is around my artwork, which is tied into my Patreon channel, Patreon page. So if you want to be a part of what I'm doing, I'm currently working through 100 portraits. I am on 59, number 59. So most of them are fan art portraits. And if you want to sort of be a part of that journey and partner with me through this process and beyond, please go to my patreon.com/Corey Lansdell, and you can sign up for as little as $1 a month and partner with me there. And in regards to everything else, probably the best place to find me is on Instagram at Third Age Art. All right, until next time, you guys, the wheel weaves way too fast. Just wanted to let you know quickly that this limited edition print is available in my Etsy store. You can find it on etsy.com and just search for Corey Lansdell. I'll put a link in the description below, but was happy to put this one together in partnership with Prime Video UK.